Okay, so now we'll be starting with radius of ox. So general radius and all are studied together, but I will make a separate lecture for Allah. Okay, so let us discuss about the basic points which are common for both radius and Allah. Okay, so it forms the elbow joint above with humerus and carpal joint below with carpals, proximal row of carpals. Okay, okay. So wait a second. So let us start again. Okay. So wait a second. Uh, so okay. So it forms the elbow joint above with humerus and carpal joint with below with the proximal row of carpals. Okay. So let us talk about radius. Then radius is faintly curved. It does not have much curvature, but it is faintly curved. Okay. Okay. Now for description, acha, it is a larger bone. It what is happening? So it is a larger bone and vertical in position. Vertical in position. Okay, vertical in position. Okay, so now let's talk about the description. So for description, radius can be divided into two structures, or it is two parts: shaft and two extremities or ends. Okay, so if we talk about shaft, then it has got four surfaces. It has got four surfaces. Shaft has got four surfaces. Okay, and so what are those four surfaces? Four surfaces are, okay, the four surfaces. The first surface here is, let me change the color. This color is good. First is anterior surface. Next is posterior surface. Then is lateral surface, and then is medial surface. Okay, so let us talk separately about each of these surfaces. So anterior surface. Anterior surface. Okay, okay. So first point related to anterior surface is, wait. So the first point related to anterior surface is that it is convex in structure. Okay? It is convex in structure. Second, it is convex in structure and it is smoother and provides attachment to the which muscle? Extensor muscle. Okay, it provides attachment to the extensor muscle. Okay, next is it provides attachment to extensor muscle. Okay, so this is all about anterior surface. Okay, now let us move on to next surface, that is posterior surface. Okay, so posterior surface, it is concave. Okay, as understood, because anterior surface is, posterior surface is opposite to anterior surface. Anterior surface is convex, so this will be concave. Okay, okay, and it is present just opposite to the anterior surface as expected. Okay, now it is attached to ulna. Posterior surface, it is attached to ulna. Okay, it is attached to ulna. Except at two places. So these places are called intercostal interoseous spaces. Okay, interoseous spaces. Okay. Okay. So these are two types. Or first is proximal, second is distal. First is proximal, second is distal. Okay. So proximal interoseous space, proximal interoseous space, and distal interoseous space. Okay, proximal interoseous space and distal interoseous space. Okay, this is all about the which surface? Posterior surface. So next we move on to lateral surface. Lateral surface. Next we move on to lateral surface. So we talk about lateral surface, then this is rounded, okay, and smooth. Each surface of its radius is smooth, so there is no exception here. So each surface is smooth. Okay, rounded and smooth. Second point, it contains a groove. It contains a groove called vascular groove. Called vascular groove, and this vascular groove contains the interoseous artery. Okay, contains the interoseous artery. Okay. Next we will talk about the last surface, that is called medial surface. Medial surface. So medial surface, again it is smooth and continuous with the anterior and posterior surface. Okay, it continues with the anterior and posterior surface. Okay. Okay, now it contains a rough area contains a rough area called no, it does not have any name. So contains a rough area for attachment, and specifically the insertion of brachialis muscle. What is the meaning of insertion? So there are two ends of a muscle. We will discuss this in detail when we will study the muscles. So there are two ends of a muscle. First one is called insertion, second is called origin. So insertion is the most movable end and origin is the least movable end. Okay, so that is called insertion. So by insertion to brachialis muscle. Okay. Okay, so wait. Okay, so let us resume. Sorry for the break. And this is the structure. This is the diagram of the radius and ulna. So this is the medial view, and this is the lateral view. Okay, what happened to the pen? Okay, so let us understand this. So this is, we will first talk about the shaft. So this is the anterior surface. Okay, what happened to it, man? Wait, oh, I now understood what happened. Yes. So this is the anterior surface, and this is again the anterior surface. This is the posterior border. Okay, no issues. So we have done till here the surfaces. 4 surfaces we have done: anterior, posterior, lateral, and medial. So now let's move on to the ends or extremities. Okay, let's move on to the extremities. So we'll move on to the extremities of radius. Extremities or ends of radius. So there are 2 extremities as expected. One is the proximal, other is the distal. Okay, one is the proximal, other is the distal. Okay, proximal, distal. So proximal, if we talk about the proximal extremity, then it consists of 2 articular surfaces which are separated by these are separated by a groove. Okay, they are separated by a groove. Okay, next is next related to proximal surface, proximal extremity only, is that it also contains a projection. It also contains a projection called coronoid process. Also contains a projection called coronoid process. Okay, and next, on the lateral side, on the lateral side of this proximal extremity, a tuberosity is present. Tuberosity is present, which is called lateral tuberosity. Called lateral tuberosity. Okay, so this is all about the proximal end. So let us talk about the distal end. So distal end, so it articulates. Acha, with which structure does the proximal end articulate? So articulate with the humerus, distal end of humerus to form elbow joint. So articulate with the proximal row of carpals. So now if we talk about proximal row of carpal, then if we talk about the proximal row of carpal, then it consists of three carpals. Three carpal bones. So what are those? The three carpal bones are, first is radial carpal, then intermediate carpal, and then ulnar carpal. Okay, so thus there are three bones, so three carpal bones. So the distal end of radius has three articular facets. Okay, it consists of three articular facets. So the three articular facets are lateral facet, intermediate facet, and medial facet. Okay, lateral facet, intermediate facet, and medial facet. So if we talk about medial facet, then here radial carpal bone articulates. Okay. Next, intermediate and lateral. Ulnar carpal bone articulates. Okay, and to the intermediate facet, the let me think. Intermediate carpal articulates. Intermediate carpal articulates. Okay, so this is all about radius. Okay, I hope that this is clear. This is all about radius. So thanks a lot.